suspension. So that isn't a gait that I'm very concerned about when looking at horses. I also like to have a horse that is responsive to my aid, so when I ask for my leg, that he reacts. He has a good mouth. Obviously, it's quite important that the contact is good. This horse has already given me a lovely feeling. He is a little bit tense, but that's understandable. He's 4, I accept that. Doesn't worry me at all. He gives me a lovely uphill feeling. Again, the balance and the rhythm he has in his trot is very easy for him. I don't have to work hard. I'm not holding him. I put him into a contact and he stays there, which again is very important. You don't want to have a horse that is, built a little bit downhill that then you're ending up having to carry and push around. So his natural way of going is uphill and in his own self-carriage. And it's quite hard at 4 for these horses to be able to do that. Some horses are naturally born this way, and as you can see, this horse is very naturally uphill. So in his training, he wouldn't be a horse that I would ride up to the bit all the time, because he finds it very easy to work here, and for me, he has to work over his back, but because he's so uphill, he has the tendency to get a little bit stiff through his body. But again, that's just relaxation and educating him to work and use his body in the right way. I also have the feeling that I really like is that he goes for himself. He's really willing. Good boy. I'm a strange person. Oh. And again, you can see it goes forward. But he's accepted me really well. I like to be a little bit greedy, as Carl always tells me, because I always like to play and see what they have, see how brave they are. And he's a brave horse, you can see. I can push, and he doesn't fall on his face. He finds his own balance. And he's lovely in the contact, he's very even in both reins. And that's just a little blip where I ask for too much and you can't quite maintain that.
You have 5 minutes left.
Oh. I'm enjoying myself. But I have a counter. Oh, I love him. See, for me, personal preference, but I love hot horses. I love horses that want to go. I love to have the feeling that they're taking me. I sit there, I haven't got to be maybe. I might steal Sweden's first one. Oh, good boy. And you can imagine this horse when he's older and he collects and he puts all this together, because don't forget, you've got to be able to collect these horses. And oh, well done. You've got to be able to put it all together. There's no point having huge paces and then not being able to make them smaller, but I feel like he has lovely rhythm and cadence naturally, so then when you train it and put it all together, it's going to be huge. You can see, like, the slightest touch with my legs, and he reacts straight away. And that's a really good sign for a Grand Prix horse. You've got to have, when I'm riding a young horse, I don't think about going and winning young horse classes. It's not about young horse classes for me. It's about having horses for Grand Prix. And that's why I say having 3 good paces is important. I don't want, all the paces don't have to be for a 10, but they have to just be good and workable. And like this horse, he has, and it feels like he has a very good trainability. And that is probably the most important part of having a horse, is having that guardability, trainability. And I love him. And you can see, the more and more I do, the more relaxed he gets, the better he gets through his body. The better he gets in my hand. And then I want to be able to stretch him.
Charlotte, we're almost out of time. Can you just do some walk, please?
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay.
Just doing a stretching. So, again, when I let go of the reins, it's still important that he stays balanced in the same rhythm, but I haven't ridden him and held him into that shape. He naturally is in his own rhythm and balance. And you can see when I let go of the range how he's stretching. And good boy. Ooh, stays the same. Ooh. And a walk. For me, it feels, it's not a 9 or a 10, but it's good enough. It's a good walk. I feel what you've got to learn to do is walk and nod a little bit more with his head and neck. But I can feel it definitely has a good overtrack. And for me, having a walk for a 9 or a 10 is probably one of the most difficult things, because you've got to be able to collect that walk. And that walk then has to collect and stay in rhythm. So having a smaller walk that it's probably for an 8, I would say for a rider is much easier, because then the ability to be able to collect the walk and shorten the walk and it stay in rhythm is much easier. And the walk is a ×2, so it is a very expensive mark. Even though it's a very easy pace to do, it's still very, very important. So having a walk for an 8 for me is what I would probably look for more than a walk for a 9 or a 10. There are a few horses that can collect that walk, and it does stay in rhythm. You've got to remember when you teach them the piaffe, the walks then become a little bit tense, and it's easier for the horse to Hey, you've got to get used to your horses. Alright, clap again. I've just made the second one even more crazy.
Så att de rivar på den andra hästen.
Då välkomnar vi stoet Dujardin som står nästa på tur. Det är ett sto som blir uppfött och ägt av Per Persson och det är Yvonne Österholm som är ryttare. Faderna här, nu on the light efter den 22